Hey everybody, we miss you so much. Welcome to JC Youth Online. I am Scott. I'm the youth pastor at Journey's Crossing. Man, I cannot wait to see you guys face to face. Even though I've never seen some of your faces ever, because lots of people are watching our videos, which is really cool. But you're here and we love it, and we want more and more of your involvement in our youth groups like this.
White hat, no, I prefer a gold top low. My hair feels spherical, hair club does not quite have me so think of Vin Diesel. Started since I was 17, need to carry extra sunscreen, look like a Spanish Mr. Clean. It's really in my jeans. Not a mohawk guy, can't handle dreadlocks guy. Take you on the rock guy, bold around the clock guy. Not a chat type, never like a fat type. Hairline kinda sad type, looks just like my dad type. I'm the bold guy. Duh. I'm the bold guy. I'm just bald.
Thank you, Edwin. That was Edwin, one of our youth workers who mixed being in the house board and a ukulele and came up with that. Great job, Edwin. That's really good. Okay, JC Youth Online this week. Welcome. We are in week 3 of our series, Jesus Is, and we've got exciting stuff to tell you. We're going to change up our youth group lineup for the month of May starting this week. So hang with us until the end of this video. We will tell you all about it, okay? Cool. All right, so let's jump in. First, watch this.
Hey, is everything okay?
Yes.
Hello, this is the Wheelers. Yeah, just a sec. Mike! Phone!
Okay.
Hello?
It's 9:32. Where are you?
Sorry, I was just about to call. I can't see you today.
Why not?
It's my Nana. She's very sick.
But Hop said that your Nana was okay.
Yeah, that's what we thought it was at first, but then she took a real turn for the worse.
Oh.
Yeah, we think she might die.
What?
Mom, get off the phone! How many times?
Did Nana call?
No, Mom, just get off the phone! Sorry about that.
Is that your mom?
Yeah, she's so upset she's making no sense because we have to go to the nursing home to see Nana.
You can come over after?
No! I mean, I just think I need to be alone today. With my feelings?
Do you lie?
What? No! Friends don't lie. What, Mom? My mom's calling me. Better go. Talk to you tomorrow. Miss you already. Bye.
Hey, what's going on?
Have you binge watched Stranger Things yet? It is so good. I'd say talk to your parents about it, but go for it. Okay, have you ever been caught in a lie like that? Like, let's say you're basically just caught, and your friend confronts you like Eleven just confronted Mike. So what's your go-to response? Like, what do you do? Would you, A, stick with the original story and just try to get the person to believe it? Like, just say whatever you need to. You're gonna try to get this person to kind of go with you on this, okay? So that's A. B, make up a brand new story, hope it works better than the first story. Or C, which I think Mike should go with, tell the truth and just realize you are awful at lying. That was just painful to watch. One of the things that I hear from people regularly these days is that it's hard to to tell the difference between fake and real, especially on the internet. Have you noticed this? Do you think this? Like, it's hard to tell the difference. And, you know, there's so much information. It's almost like, thanks, internet. Like, we have so much information at our fingertips, but not all of it is truthful or trustworthy. So, and sometimes people just write funny articles, like there's The Onion and Babylon Bee and all these funny groups. They're just meant to make us laugh. But sometimes people write stuff to deliberately mislead us, to trick you into thinking something that is false is real. And if you're not careful, it can be easy to mistake the two, to think something is real when it's really fake. So let's see how good you are at telling the difference. Okay, we're gonna try this together. This is called the real or fake challenge. Now, here's how it goes. We're gonna put a headline up, and it's either real or fake. So you're gonna put the word real or fake in the chat, okay? So put it in the chat, real or fake. Here's the first one. Ready? Boeing CEO admits company made a mistake by including automatic self-destruct function on all 737 MAX planes. Is that real or fake? Yeah, that's definitely fake. Who would put, you understand what we're doing? Who would put a self-destruct function on a plane? You get it, perfect. Okay, next one. Family making funeral plans for relatives, shocked when the relative shows up at the barbecue. Real or fake? That's real and very awkward. Okay, next one. Heat wave cooks mussels in their shells on a California shore. Real or fake? Real. That really happens. Yep. Okay, next one. Maze with cheese in the center enters human trials following decades of testing on mice. Real or fake? Yeah, very fake. Okay, next one. All U.S. spacecraft to be replaced with high-speed trains by 2030. In the chat, real or fake? Yeah, fake. Not real. Okay, next one. Bear breaks into car and drives down a hill in Colorado. Real? Fake? In the chat? That's real. That's real, yeah. You can get your license. Anybody can get their license in Colorado, apparently. All right. Next. Gillette recalls razors because they're too sharp. True? Real? Fake? Real. That's real. Okay. Yeah. Last one. Sony reveals PlayStation 5 will feature fully functioning breakfast sandwich maker. Real or fake? Please don't say that you thought that was real. Okay, that was fake. All right, something to think about with this. All of this information, or really misinformation out there, what impact has it had on our relationship with truth? Like, how easy is it now to trust that something is true? What has it done to our ability to believe in true things? So for this series so far, and you can watch the last two conversations about this on our JC Youth YouTube channel, we've been talking about who Jesus is. And we've said some pretty major things. Like 2 weeks ago, we said that Jesus is God. And last week, we said Jesus is our Savior. But today, we're talking about a third thing that Jesus is. And to a lot of people, this is where the conversation can get a little bit dicey. Like it becomes a little offensive, a little uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because lots of people don't believe that truth matters. Or maybe they don't believe that truth even exists, or that you can't know truth. They believe all of those things. And that's not a new debate, that's not a new conversation. In fact, at Jesus' time, a man named Pontius Pilate had this very conversation with Jesus right before he sentences him to death for crimes that Jesus didn't commit. So I want to read you the story. Here's the story in John 18 of Pontius Pilate and Jesus. John 18, verses 28 through 38. Here's what it says. Then the Jewish leaders took Jesus from Caiaphas, the Jewish high priest, to the palace of the Roman governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanness, they did not enter the palace, because they wanted to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate came out and asked, "What charges are you bringing against this man?" "If he were not a criminal," they replied, "we would not have handed him over to you." Pilate said, "Take him yourselves and judge him by your own law." "But we have no right to execute anyone," they objected. This took place to fulfill what Jesus had said about the kind of death he was going to die. Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Is that your own idea?" Jesus asked, "or did others talk to you about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate replied. "Your own people and chief priests handed you over to me. What is it that you have done?" Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place." "So you are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." "What is truth?" retorted Pilate. With this, he went out again and found the Jews gathered there and said, "I find no basis for a charge against him." Okay, here's what's happening here. So the religious leaders of the day, they want Jesus dead because, like we said a couple of weeks ago, Jesus was claiming to be God, and that made the religious leaders crazy enough they wanted to kill him. But they had a problem. Legally, they weren't allowed to put anybody to death. They say it right in that passage. They needed the Roman government to do that. So the religious leaders, Caiaphas and his crew, take Jesus to the Roman government, Pontius Pilate. And Pilate isn't convinced that Jesus had done anything worthy of death. Pilate questions Jesus, and he's trying to figure out what's going on and what he should do about it. And Pilate asks Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Now, if Jesus is really claiming to be king, Pilate has a problem because the government there already has a king, King Herod. And Pilate can't have someone threatening to take Herod's spot as the king. So the question is Jesus a king? And first, as Jesus does, he responds with a question, right? He's like, "Who told you that?" And then Jesus basically says, "Well, yeah, kind of am. Like, I have a kingdom, but it's not an earthly kingdom like the one you're thinking of." And Pilate is confused. Like, he just wants to know, do I have to kill you? Like, is your goal to overthrow the king? And Jesus says his goal is something very different, to testify to truth. And then Pilate has this famous response, "What is truth?" Now, there's lots of debate about what he meant by that. Was he actually asking about truth? Was he suggesting, well, what is truth? Like, there's no such thing. Or was he talking about Jesus's trial and impending death, suggesting that whether or not Jesus was truly guilty didn't matter. He was just going to be killed anyway. I don't know. But the question is still a really good question. What is truth? Now, Jesus makes it clear. He came to show the world what truth is. And I told you earlier that what we're talking about today might be offensive to some because Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And the claim there that he is truth is what makes Jesus different. And it's what gets him killed. Jesus claimed to be the truth. And for those of us who trust in him and still believe that today, truth then isn't just an idea, it's a person. This isn't the first time Jesus made this claim. Like, a few chapters earlier, Jesus said something pretty similar to his disciples. Here's what he says in John 14, verses 1 through 7. It says this: "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, so that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going." Thomas said to him, "Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" Jesus answered, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Jesus' friends are getting angry. they're upset because the things that Jesus is saying, they're getting people mad wherever they go. And because his teachings were controversial. And people were wanting more and more to kill Jesus. And probably the people who were around him too. Their lives were at risk. And so to comfort them and to let them know that he had a plan, no matter what happened next, Jesus said, I'm going to my Father's house to prepare a place for you. A place where God is and where you are invited to come to. Imagine that, like you're invited to God's house. And they didn't get it. They were stumped because they didn't know exactly where Jesus was going. How could they possibly know how to get there? What's the address? How do I get the GPS? How do I, put this in maps and figure out where I'm going? And Jesus says to them, they know the way because they know him. He is the way. He made a pretty bold claim in verse 6. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Which that claim makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Why do you think? I mean, people wanted to kill him. Because if I'm honest, I can think of a lot of reasons why people would dislike the statement that Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to God except through me. Have you heard objections to that? Have you heard people say, no, I don't like that? Have you heard? Go ahead and put in the chat. Put something that you've heard that is an objection to that statement by Jesus. You know what's probably going in the chat right now? Very tough questions and understandable questions. Like, wow, that seems crazy that he's the only way to God. And yeah, we've talked about this before, that when we come against hard things that are true about God, sometimes our questions are just kind of stuck there. Like, they're hard to deal with. And Jesus doesn't shame us. He doesn't berate us when we've got questions or doubts about him. That's not what he did with his friends. He reminded them that he's the truth. And then he gave them the room they needed to let that kind of sink in. And I think that's what he does with us. I think he allows us to kind of deal with that. And Jesus doesn't say, here is the way, here is the truth, here is the life. If you come to the Father and you've done these 5 things, then you're good to go. Jesus says, I am the way. He doesn't give us a list of things to do. He says, here I am. Come get to know me. So once again, we're asking, who is Jesus? And these stories and Jesus' own words make it clear. Jesus is truth. And maybe you're thinking, all right, fine, Jesus is truth. What does that mean? And why does it matter? Well, I'd like us to look at why Jesus says it matters. So let's look one more time, the book of John, 8th chapter, verses 31 and 32. Here's what it says. Jesus says this, if you hold to my teachings, then you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. As you get to know Jesus, as you get to know who he is, you learn to trust him. And as you do that, he sets you free from so many things, from the power of sin and from death, from believing lies about yourself, from always having to be angry about everything at everyone, or guilty about everything, or full of fear or shame or brokenness or unforgiveness. Jesus' being truth changes a lot of things. He sets us free. So let's engage with that. Today we're going to end youth groups in a slightly different way. I'd like us to focus a little bit on how the truth of Jesus can set us free from whatever has power over us. Because when you have truth set you free, you've got to be willing to admit some things first. And maybe the first thing is Maybe you didn't have all the truth. Like maybe you need help, or maybe you're under the power of something that isn't true. Maybe you need the truth of Jesus to set you free. So here's what this needs. What we're gonna do, you should try to get away from distractions. So noise, maybe go outside, and then I want you to try something. I want you to sit by yourself for 1 minute in silence, 60 seconds, and just be completely quiet. Now that is not something that we're used to, maybe more often these days, but I'd like you to try it. Just lean into the uncomfortableness of all of it. 1 minute, quiet. Just allow yourself to sit there. You don't have to do anything. Just sit. And if you can do longer, do longer. If you need to do longer, great, do it. And after that minute, I want you to ask God one question. Here it is. God, what do I allow, other than you, to have power over me? What am I allowing to have power over me other than you? Maybe it's fear of the future or the present. Maybe it's not being good enough. You feel like you're not good enough. Or maybe you are afraid that you won't matter to anyone. Or maybe that you won't find a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or maybe you want one too badly. Maybe it's kind of overtaking you. Maybe you want so badly to be popular or to find your worth in some thing. Maybe you're working so hard at some performance-based thing. And then after you do that, after you ask that question, just be quiet again and see if there's anything that pops into your brain that you feel like, I might need to be set free from that. And then I want you to pray this prayer, or a prayer like it. Jesus, I want to know you as the truth. And as I get to know you as the truth, would you set me free from whatever it is I have allowed to have power over me in my life? And would you help me to trust you and help me to trust your truth? In Jesus' name, amen. Go ahead and take the next 10 minutes and do that now. Welcome back, everybody. Hope that was super helpful. There is so much that the truth of Jesus can set us free from, whether it's sin that we've committed or lies that we've believed or brokenness that's holding us back. The truth of Jesus sets us free. And here's today's invitation. If Jesus is truth and the way to God, then do you know him? And if you don't, there's no pressure, but I want to ask, where are you getting your hope from? Where is your peace coming from in life? Do you have any? Maybe today is the day that you want to start that conversation about getting to know him better. Let's talk. Reach out to us. And if Jesus is truth, if you're a Jesus follower and Jesus is truth, then what came up in that prayer time just now? What do you still need to be set free from? What are you not turning over to him yet? Let's close up today asking God for help in all of that. Let's ask him to let the truth impact our lives. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you for today and for this time together. Thank you for being the truth that sets us free. Thank you for giving us a way to live that reflects that truth. And whoever's engaging this right now, God, you know every person, every name. I ask you to help them turn themselves over to you to be impacted by your truth. And that's hard, Father, when you've been relying on yourself. To rely on someone else is hard work. But I thank you for wanting to help us do the work. I pray, Father, that you would show us how reliable you are as your truth. We pray that in Jesus' name. Hey, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today at JC Youth Online. Would you do me a favor? Would you reach out and let me know that you watched today? I don't know who you are watching this, but we would love to get to know you and start a friendship. If you're a part of our youth groups on a regular basis, we would love to check in with you. Maybe you've made a spiritual decision today. We would love to help you with that. So here on the screen are a bunch of ways to connect to our youth groups. You can call us, you can email or text. You can always find out more on our website, ilovethischurch.com/youth. And every Sunday morning, our youth e-news comes out at 7 a.m. There's tons of good information there too. You can also find us on social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and those are being updated regularly, so check us out there. You can also, if you want to check in daily, we meet at noon every day on Instagram. So Instagram at noon every day for a daily prayer time. And it's a minute or less. So come join us. You can pray along with us, which is a really, really cool thing that we can just, pray together every single day. So every day, noon, Instagram, be a part. Now, at the beginning of this video, we said that we are going to be changing up the way that we do youth groups online. So typically in a week, we do JC Youth Online Sunday mornings at 11:15. We do debriefing groups at 12:15 and midweek groups Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. So let's talk about the way we're going to do midweek groups a little bit differently. So for the last month, we've been doing midweek groups every week on Wednesday night. And there's been there's a lot of Zoom fatigue in the world. So we thought we would break that up and we would do our next midweek group online on the second Wednesday. That's May 13th for midweek groups this month. 7 to 8:30 p.m. and invite a friend. We'll be doing giveaways and you've got 2 weeks to invite people. So the link is in the description of this video. Here are your steps. Ready? Step 1, go to YouTube on your phone. Step 2, find this video and the description below and then copy the link to our midweek groups online. And then step 3 is text that out to 3 friends. And if they're new and they come to midweek groups, we'll have a gift for them. So that's awesome. So do that. We also want to tell you about another change to debriefing groups. Now, we've been doing debriefing groups every Sunday at 12:15. We're going to do that differently going forward. We're going to be doing debriefing groups twice a month on first and third Sundays. And instead of 12:15, we're going to do them at 6 p.m. And the reason that we're doing that is to give you some more time to engage with youth groups on a Sunday. So people sometimes, they don't get to 11:15. They don't get up for the 11:15 youth group to watch it with us live. So we thought 6 p.m. And maybe there's a friend of yours who wanted to come and be a part of youth groups, but they couldn't for some reason. They didn't get up at 11:15. So this way, you've got time for you to engage with youth groups and for them to engage with youth groups. And then we'll do debriefing groups at 6 p.m. So you'll have the whole day to connect with and watch our youth groups or be a part of youth groups, JC Youth Online that we typically do at 11:15, and then you can be a part of debriefing groups at 6 p.m. Cool? Does that make sense? You can find the link to our debriefing group in the description below. You can always copy and paste that and send it to whoever to have them be a part of it. All right, awesome. So, also tonight at debriefing groups, come and be a part because we're going to be talking about the ways that we're going to reach out to our friends in Mexico at the foster home that we work with. It's going to be awesome. So be a part of this conversation. All right, thanks guys for being a part of JC Youth Online. We miss you guys a ton. We will see you guys tonight at 6 o'clock at debriefing groups. So until then, peace.